distinguished leaders, educators, psychologists, scientists, policymakers, healthcare professionals, innovators, community builders, and stewards of human development. Those who shape minds, those who design systems, those who influence behavior, culture, and the future trajectory of society. I address you not simply as professionals, but as architects of the human experience. Because whether acknowledged or not, the future of humanity is already being shaped in your classrooms, in your institutions, in your policies, in your research, and in the environments you create every single day. And today, we gather at a point in history where your roles are no longer just important, they are decisive. There are moments in history that pass quietly, unnoticed, unrecorded, slipping between the cracks of time. And then there are moments that redefine existence itself. Moments that do not simply change the direction of a people, but change the trajectory of a species. Moments where humanity is no longer asked to survive, no longer asked to adapt, no longer asked to compete, but is called, collectively, undeniably, irreversibly, to transform. That moment is now. For centuries, no, for millennia, humanity has searched outward. We built civilizations from dust and stone. We crossed oceans we once feared. We rose into the skies we once worshipped. We split the atom. We mapped the genome. We created the machines that think, systems that learn, and networks that span the globe in seconds. We reached for the stars. Yet, in all of this expansion, in all of this brilliance, in all of this undeniable progress, we overlooked the one frontier that determines everything, the human being itself, untouched, unmastered, uncoordinated. We became powerful without becoming aligned, connected without becoming unified, advanced without becoming aware. And so we find ourselves here in the most technologically advanced era in human history, yet still divided at the most fundamental level of existence. Divided in thought, divided in emotion, divided in identity, divided in purpose. And a divided system, no matter how advanced, is an unstable system. But what if I told you this? That this division is not our design, that fragmentation is not our destiny, that humanity was never meant to function as isolated individuals competing for dominance, but as components of a single living system. Because that is the truth we are stepping into today. What stands before you is not an invention. It is not a belief system, and it's certainly not a movement seeking followers or validation. It is a recognition of something so fundamental, so simple, so undeniable, that has been overlooked by complexity. A realization that has always been true, but never fully understood, never fully embodied, never fully structured. That humanity is not many. Humanity is one. One body, expressed through billions. One system, functioning through diversity. One organism, learning how to become aware of itself. And today, we give that realization structure. We give it language. We give it direction. We give it a pathway forward. Today, we step into the framework of the human one-body species. There comes a point in every civilization journey where it must confront a single question. Not what we have built, not what have been achieved, not how far we have come, but what are we becoming? Because everything we build, every system, every institution, every innovation is a reflection of who we are internally. And if we are fragmented within, we will build fragmented systems. If we are reactive within, we will create reactive societies. If we are disconnected within, we will construct a disconnected world. So the question is no longer, can humanity evolve? We have already proven that we can. The question now is, will humanity evolve consciously and together. The human one-body species, or HOBS, is the answer to that question. It is a framework that acknowledges a single but powerful truth. Just as the human body cannot function when its cells act in opposition, humanity cannot thrive while its people operate in division. The heart does not compete with the lungs. The brain does not seek dominance over the body. Each part has its role, its function, its responsibility, and together they create life. HOBS is the application of that same principle to humanity itself. But understand this clearly. Unity is not sameness. Unity is not the erasure of identity. It is not conformity. It is not control. Unity is coordination. It is awareness of how your actions affect the whole. It is responsibility for your role within the system. It is a conscious choice to operate in alignment rather than reaction. And that alignment begins not with governments, not with institutions, not with systems, but it begins with the individual. The journey of the human one-body species begins in Solum, the self. This is where everything is decided. This is where a person becomes or chooses awareness over autopilot, discipline over impulse, accountability over blame, growth over comfort. This is where emotional regulation is developed, where self-awareness becomes consistent, where identity is grounded not in external validation, but internal clarity. Because a person who cannot govern themselves cannot contribute to a system that requires coordination, you see. From Solum, we evolve into Duovera, the conscious connection between two. This is where relationships transform, no longer built on dependency, no longer driven by insecurity, no longer sustained by control or avoidance, but rooted in wholeness. Two individuals, fully formed, choosing to align. Here, love becomes stable, communication becomes intentional, conflict becomes constructive. This is where humanity relearns what connection is supposed to be. From Duovera, we expand into Harmonia, the family. This is where the future is either broken or built. Because the family is not just a unit, it is a replication system. What is normalized here becomes normalized in society. And with Harmonia, something profound happens. Children are no longer raised in confusion, but in clarity. No longer conditioned in suppression, but guided into awareness. No longer forced to adapt to dysfunction, but nurtured in alignment. They learn emotional intelligence early. They learn responsibility naturally. They learn connection as a standard, not a struggle. And because of that, they do not inherit cycles. They transcend them. And from Harmonia, we arrive at Unum, the collective. The realization that humanity itself is a single, interconnected organism. This is where systems transform. Workplaces evolve beyond exploitation into alignment. Education expands beyond modernization into development. Leadership shifts from control to responsibility. Communities move from competition to coordination. This is where society begins to function as it was always meant to be. This evolution is not abstract. It is structured. It is progressive. It follows a pathway, a 15-year journey of development where individuals move step by step from awareness to stability, to connection, to contribution. This journey replaces chaos with clarity. It replaces randomness with direction. It provides humanity with something it has never had at scale, a clear framework for becoming better. But let us not pretend this path is effortless now, because transformation requires confrontation. There are hindrances, yes, real ones, patterns that keep people locked in fragmentation, lack of self-awareness, for instance, emotional avoidance, fear of accountability, addiction to validation, environments that reward dysfunction over growth. There are systems that benefit from division and narratives that resist unity. But none of these are stronger than awareness, because once a person sees clearly, they cannot unsee. Once they recognize their role in the system, they cannot deny it. And once enough individuals begin to align, everything changes. Workplaces begin to shift. Relationships stabilize. Families become environments of growth. Children rise without inherited damage. Communities begin to function in coordination, not conflict. And slowly, steadily, undeniably, a new standard emerges. This is how a species evolves, you see. Not through force, not through control, not through sudden change, but through consistent alignment over time. And understand this. Future generations will not inherit what we say. They will inherit what we model. They will inherit the emotional stability we embody, the systems we design, the relationships we normalize, the level of awareness we choose to live in. And if we choose correctly, they will not spend their lives repairing what we ignored. They will begin where we left off. That is the responsibility of this moment. The human one-body species is not about perfection. It is about progression, from fragmentation to coordination, from reaction to awareness, from isolation to interconnection. It is about remembering what has always been true. We were never separate. We were simply unaware. So now, the question is no longer, what kind of world do we want? The question is, what kind of humans are we willing to become, to create it? Because the future of humanity will not be determined by technology. It will not be determined by politics. It will not be determined by chance. It will be determined by whether we choose to live as one body or remain divided as many. The choice is here. The framework is here. And whether acknowledged or not, the evolution has already begun. Thank you. There's the official website link in the description box below. Thank you.